Imagine, for a moment, that you are floating in an endless void, surrounded by a silence so profound it feels almost alive. Above you, below you, in every direction, galaxies spiral in slow, graceful dances, their light a whisper from eons past. Each star, each swirling arm of cosmic dust, seems to hum with a secret, an ancient rhythm that binds the vastness together. As you drift through this infinite expanse, a question begins to form, soft as a breath against the quiet. Are we, in all our fleeting struggles and dreams, truly free? Or are we bound by unseen forces, by laws not just of physics, but of deeper, darker truths woven into the very fabric of existence? Let's linger here, in this boundless darkness, and consider the nature of order. We often think of the universe as a place of chaos, a wild expanse of chance and collision. But beneath the surface, there is a structure, a set of invisible rules that govern every speck of stardust, every pulse of energy. Gravity pulls worlds into orbit, not out of kindness or malice, but because it must. Light travels at a speed that never wavers, as if it, too, obeys a silent command. These are the laws we can measure, the ones we've named and tamed with equations. But what of the others? The unspoken edicts that seem to shape not just matter, but meaning itself. What if there are currents of inevitability etched into reality that guide our choices, our fates, without us ever knowing their names? Picture a single galaxy, a pinwheel of light suspended in the void. Within it, billions of stars burn and die, each following a path that seems almost predestined. A star is born from collapsing gas and dust. It shines for millennia, and then it fades, sometimes in a quiet dimming, sometimes in a violent supernova that scatters its essence across the cosmos. Does it choose this cycle, or is it compelled by forces older than time itself? And what of us, gazing up at that distant light? We build our lives, craft our stories, chase after dreams, all while tethered to a planet spinning through the same unyielding order. Are we any freer than that star, or are we too caught in a dance we didn't choreograph? Take a moment to reflect on this. Feel the weight of that question settle over you like a soft, heavy shadow. Are there threads of cosmic law pulling at your own life, guiding your steps in ways you can't see? Perhaps freedom is not the absence of rules, but the illusion we create to bear them. Or perhaps there is a deeper liberty, one that lies not in breaking these unseen chains, but in understanding their shape, their purpose. Consider the ancient philosophers who looked to the heavens and saw not just stars, but a divine order, a cosmos where every event, every life was part of a grand design. The Stoics spoke of living in harmony with nature, accepting the laws that govern all things as a path to peace. Yet even they wrestled with the tension between fate and will. If the universe is a tapestry of unbreakable threads, where does our agency lie? Are we mere actors reading lines written by an unseen hand, or do we possess the power to weave a few threads of our own? This is not a question of science alone, but of the soul. It is a mystery that hums in the silence between the stars, a riddle that has haunted humanity since we first looked up and wondered why. As you float here, in this imagined expanse of endless night, let your mind wander across the vastness. Think of the laws we know, gravity, motion, time, and the ones we don't. Think of the quiet order that might underpin every heartbeat, every thought, every fleeting moment of joy or pain. What if the universe is not a place of chaos at all, but a realm of profound, hidden structure, where even our doubts and dreams are part of a larger pattern? And if that is so, does it comfort you to imagine yourself as part of this grand design? Or does it stir a quiet unease, a longing to break free from a script you never agreed to read? Let this thought linger as the galaxies continue their slow, eternal spiral around you. There is no rush to answer, no need to solve the unsolvable tonight. For now, simply drift in the quiet, letting the weight of the cosmos remind you of your smallness. And perhaps, in that smallness, a strange and beautiful kind of belonging. Imagine for a moment a star, a blazing titan of light and fury, hanging in the vast emptiness of space. It burns with a ferocity that could outshine entire galaxies, a beacon of raw, untamed energy casting its glow across unimaginable distances. But even this celestial giant, this god of fire and radiance, is not eternal. Slowly, inevitably, its core begins to falter. Its once mighty heart collapses under its own weight, and in a final catastrophic gasp, it implodes, folding inward, until it becomes something else entirely. A black hole, a void so profound that not even light can escape its grasp. This is not just a story of a star's demise, but a whisper of a deeper, unyielding force that governs all things. Entropy, the relentless law of decay that promises every beginning an end. Entropy, as the second law of thermodynamics reveals, is the silent arbiter of disorder. It dictates that within any closed system, energy will always spread out, dissipate, and scatter until equilibrium is reached, a state of maximum chaos where nothing can be reclaimed. Think of a castle of sand on a windswept shore. No matter how meticulously you shape its towers, the tide and the breeze will erode it, grain by grain, until it is indistinguishable from the beach itself. This is entropy's promise, that all things, no matter how grand or intricate, will unravel over time. That star, once a furnace of creation forging the very elements of life, now sits as a black hole, a monument to loss, swallowing everything that dares to come near. But let us linger on this thought for a moment. Is there not a strange, melancholic beauty in this inevitable dissolution? Consider the ruins of ancient empires, Rome's crumbling aqueducts, the overgrown temples of Angkor Wat, half buried in the jungle's embrace. They stand as testaments to what once was, their decay a canvas for our imagination to paint stories of glory and hubris. Even our own memories, those fragile threads of who we are, fade with each passing year. A childhood laugh, the scent of rain on a summer evening. Try as we might to hold them, they slip through our fingers like water, dissolving into the haze of time. Entropy does not discriminate. It touches the cosmic and the intimate with the same indifferent hand. Take a moment to reflect on this. What is it about decay that stirs something within us? Is it the reminder of our own fragility, the quiet nudge to cherish what is fleeting before it, too, is consumed by the march of disorder? Or is it something deeper, a recognition that without endings, beginnings would hold no meaning? Picture a garden in autumn, leaves turning amber and gold as they fall, nourishing the soil for the spring to come. Even in decay, there is a kind of poetry, a cycle, a transformation, a whisper that nothing is truly lost, only reshaped. Yet entropy's reach extends far beyond the physical. It weaves its way into the fabric of our lives, our societies, our very thoughts. Empires fall not just from war or famine, but from the slow erosion of purpose, the creeping disarray of forgotten ideals. Relationships, too, can crumble under the weight of unspoken words, misunderstandings piling up like dust in an abandoned house until the foundation itself gives way. And what of our own minds? Over time, even our sharpest convictions can blur, our once clear dreams dissolving into a fog of doubt and distraction. Entropy is not merely a law of physics, it is a mirror held up to the human condition, reflecting our own impermanence in its cold, unyielding truth. So, we must ask ourselves, can we resist this force, or are we destined to surrender to it? Is there a way to build something, be it a life, a legacy, a moment, that defies the pull of disorder, even for a fleeting instant? Or is the true wisdom in acceptance, in finding grace within the unraveling? Imagine that star once more, now a black hole, its light long gone. Yet, in its collapse, it has warped the very fabric of space and time, leaving an imprint that lingers for eons. Even in its end, it shapes the cosmos. Perhaps then, Decay is not merely destruction, but a kind of quiet creation, a reshaping of what was into what will be. Let this thought settle over you like a soft shadow. Entropy may be relentless, but it is not cruel. It is simply the way of things, a law as old as the universe itself, guiding all that exists toward an inevitable rest. And in that rest, there may yet be a kind of peace, a release from the struggle to hold on, a surrender to the natural order of dissolution. As you ponder this, let your mind drift to something in your own life that has faded with time. A memory, a dream, a bond. Can you see the beauty in its passing? Or does its absence still ache like a wound that refuses to heal? Perhaps in the end, entropy teaches us not to cling, but to let go with a quiet, knowing grace. Imagine, for a moment, a single point of light flickering in an endless sea of darkness. That light is us, Earth, a fragile beacon adrift in a void so vast it defies comprehension. The nearest stars, those distant embers of cosmic fire, are so far removed that their glow takes years, even centuries, to reach our eyes. In this immense expanse, we are utterly, achingly alone. What does it mean to exist in a universe that seems to conspire against connection, where the very fabric of space stretches out like an unbridgeable chasm? Let us wander into this haunting truth, this law of isolation that whispers of cosmic loneliness. Picture the night sky, a canvas of infinite black, pierced by pinpricks of ancient light. Each star, though brilliant, is an island unto itself, separated by distances so staggering that even the fastest signals we could send, a desperate cry into the void, would take lifetimes to reach the nearest neighbor. And what if there is life out there, some other consciousness gazing into their own dark heavens, wondering as we do? The cruel irony is that the universe, in its boundless scale, may have ensured we will never meet. The speed of light, that ultimate boundary, becomes not just a law of physics but a law of solitude, a silent decree that we are destined to remain apart, our voices lost in the empty expanse. Consider the paradox of our yearning. We, as a species, are woven from a deep hunger for connection, for kinship, for a hand to hold in the face of the unknown. We build towering cities, craft intricate languages, and send signals into the cosmos, all in the hope of being heard, of being seen. Yet the universe, in its silent indifference, offers no reply. Is this isolation a punishment, a test, or simply the nature of a reality too vast to care for our small desires? Are we shouting into a void that was never meant to echo back? Or does the silence itself hold a deeper truth? A reminder that perhaps true connection begins within, in the quiet spaces of our own hearts. Take a moment to reflect on this. Imagine yourself standing on a cliff at the edge of the world, staring out into a starlit abyss. Feel the weight of that solitude, the way it presses against your chest, both heavy and strangely freeing. What does it stir in you? This knowledge that we may be the only ones to witness our own story. Now, let us drift further into this thought. If the universe is a grand tapestry of separation, what does it mean for us, here on this solitary blue sphere? We search for meaning in the stars, in the possibility of others, yet perhaps the very act of searching is what defines us. Our loneliness becomes a mirror, reflecting not just our isolation, but our resilience, our capacity to create beauty and wonder, even in the absence of an audience. Think of the ancient sailors who navigated uncharted seas, guided by those same distant stars, not knowing if land or anyone awaited them. Their courage was born not from certainty, but from the void itself, from the very uncertainty of connection. And so we must ask, is this cosmic loneliness a burden to bear or a quiet gift? Does the vast distance between us and the unknown force us to turn inward, to find companionship in our own thoughts, in the fleeting bonds we forge here on this tiny world? Or does it haunt us, a reminder that no matter how far we reach, we may always be alone. The universe offers no answers, only the endless stretch of space, a silent witness to our longing. Let this thought linger as we sit beneath the weight of the night sky. Perhaps in this isolation, there is a strange kind of intimacy, a shared solitude between us and the cosmos, a quiet understanding that even in our aloneness, we are part of something incomprehensibly vast. And maybe, just maybe, that is enough. Imagine for a moment a vast desert stretching endlessly under a merciless sun, where the ruins of a once mighty city lie buried beneath layers of sand, forgotten by all but the whispering wind. Temples that once echoed with prayers, marketplaces that buzzed with life, all reduced to mere echoes in the Earth's memory. Now picture, in stark contrast, a tiny mayfly, its fragile wings catching the morning light, living out its entire existence in the span of a single day, born, dancing, and dying before the sun has even set. What unites these two images, so distant in scale and time, is a quiet, unyielding truth. Nothing lasts, not the grandest of empires, nor the briefest of lives. Everything, in its own way, slips through the fingers of eternity. This is the law of impermanence, a force as ancient as existence itself, woven into the very fabric of reality. It is not a law written in stone or decreed by any authority, but one that reveals itself in the slow erosion of mountains, in the fading of memories, in the way even our most cherished moments dissolve into the past. Long before science sought to name the laws of decay, ancient wisdom recognized this truth. In the teachings of Buddhism, impermanence, known as anicca, stands as a cornerstone of understanding. It whispers that all things are transient, that to cling to what is temporary is to invite suffering. A flower blooms, its petals unfurl in radiant beauty, only to wither by evening. Is it the flower's fleeting nature that causes us pain, or our refusal to let it go? Consider the great civilizations of old: Mesopotamia, Egypt, Rome. Their towering monuments were built as if to defy time itself, to proclaim their dominance over the ages. Yet, where are their voices now? Swallowed by the same sands that cover their ruins. The pharaohs, who believed their pyramids would stand as eternal testaments to their power, could not foresee the cracks that time would carve into their stone. Their names, once spoken with awe, are now mere curiosities in history books, if they are remembered at all. And what of us? We too build our lives with the illusion of permanence, our homes, our relationships, our legacies. Yet the current of time flows on, indifferent to our efforts. Take a moment to reflect on this. Is there something you hold dear, something you fear losing, that even now is slipping away? But perhaps there is another way to see this law, not as a source of sorrow, but as a strange kind of liberation. If nothing lasts, then neither do our pains, our failures, our regrets. The weight of a broken heart, the sting of a mistake. They, too, are impermanent, destined to fade as surely as a sunset. The mayfly, in its fleeting day, knows nothing of tomorrow's absence. It dances in the light, unaware of its end, and in that ignorance, it is free. Could it be that our suffering stems not from impermanence itself, but from our resistance to it? What if, instead of grasping at what cannot be held, we learn to embrace the temporary, to see the beauty in a moment precisely because it will not return? Yet there is a deeper question here, one that lingers like a shadow at the edge of thought. If everything is fleeting, if nothing endures, then what is the essence of being human? Are we defined by our endless struggle to create permanence in a world that denies it, building, loving, dreaming, even as the sand slips beneath us? Or is our true nature found in surrender, in the quiet acceptance that all things pass, and that this very passing is what gives life its fragile, aching beauty? There is no answer to be found in words alone, only in the silent spaces, where we confront the fleeting nature of our own existence. So, as the ruins of ancient cities sleep beneath the earth, and as the mayfly's wings fall still under the weight of dusk, let us sit with this truth for a while. Nothing lasts. Not the grand, not the small, not even the thoughts we think in this very moment. And perhaps, in that realization, there is a kind of peace, a release from the need to hold on. Take a moment to reflect on this. What would it mean to live as if nothing were permanent, to let go of the illusion of forever, and to find meaning in the fleeting dance of now? Imagine for a moment that you are standing on the edge of a vast, uncharted forest at twilight, the air thick with the scent of damp earth and unseen possibilities. In your hand, you hold a lantern, its weak flicker barely piercing the encroaching darkness. You seek to illuminate a single truth, a fleeting shadow that dances just beyond your reach. But the harder you stare, the more it slips away, morphing into something you can no longer recognize. What if the very act of seeking changes the thing you seek? What if reality itself bends under the weight of your gaze? This is the essence of what lies beneath the surface of our world, a principle woven into the very fabric of existence, known in the realm of physics as the uncertainty principle. Discovered by Werner Heisenberg in the early 20th century, it reveals a startling truth about the quantum realm. We cannot know both the position and the momentum of a particle with perfect precision. To observe one is to obscure the other. It is as if the universe plays a game of hide and seek with us, whispering that absolute knowledge is a mirage, a shadow we can chase but never grasp. Picture a man standing by a still lake at dawn, the water a perfect mirror of the grey sky above. He sees a shadow flickering beneath the surface, a fish perhaps, or merely a trick of the light. He reaches out, his fingers breaking the glassy calm, sending ripples cascading outward. The shadow vanishes, scattered by his own intrusion. He stands there, hand dripping with cold water, realizing that in his eagerness to capture the mystery, he has altered it forever. So it is with us and the fundamental truths of the cosmos. Our tools, our minds, our very curiosity. They are not passive observers, but active participants, reshaping the reality we so desperately wish to understand. Consider for a moment the implications of this. If observation itself distorts what is observed, can we ever claim to know anything with certainty? Is there a bedrock of truth beneath the shifting sands of perception? Or are we doomed to wander through a world of half-seen shadows, piecing together fragments that change with every glance? In the quantum dance of particles, where electrons exist as both wave and matter until we look, reality seems to wait for our decision, as if it needs our eyes to take form. But what does this mean for the larger tapestry of our lives? When we seek to understand a friend's hidden pain, a lover's unspoken thoughts, or even the purpose of our own existence, do we not also alter the very thing we pursue? Take a moment to reflect on this. Imagine yourself reaching for a truth, something you've longed to comprehend. Feel the weight of your own gaze, the way it presses against the delicate balance of what is. Does it slip away, reshaped by your touch? Or does it reveal itself only in fleeting, fragmented glimpses? This principle of uncertainty stretches beyond the subatomic, threading its way into the philosophical. It echoes the ancient wisdom of those who warned against the hubris of absolute knowledge. The Greek philosopher Socrates once mused that true wisdom lies in knowing that we know nothing. Perhaps Heisenberg's discovery is a modern mirror to this timeless insight, a reminder that the universe guards its deepest secrets not with walls, but with veils. We may lift them, but never without consequence. Every answer we uncover births a new question, every clarity a new shadow. And so we stand at the edge of that twilight forest, lantern in hand, peering into the darkness. The shadow we sought is gone, dissolved by our own light. Yet in its absence, there is a strange beauty, a quiet invitation to embrace the unknown. What if true understanding lies not in capturing the shadow, but in learning to walk beside it, To accept that some mysteries are meant to remain just out of reach? What if the act of seeking, with all its distortions and disruptions, is itself the point? A journey not toward certainty, but toward wonder. Let this thought linger as the forest grows darker around you, as the lantern's glow dims. There is no need to rush, no need to grasp. For in this moment, in this quiet uncertainty, there is a kind of peace, a recognition that the universe, in all its elusive strangeness, is not something to be conquered, but something to be felt, to be pondered, to be lived. Imagine, for a moment, a forest cloaked in the amber haze of twilight, its ancient trees standing as silent witnesses to an inferno that sweeps through their midst. Flames devour the old bark, reducing centuries of quiet growth to ash in mere hours. The air is thick with the scent of charred earth, and yet, in that destruction, something stirs, a hidden promise. Beneath the blackened soil, seeds wait, untouched by the fire's wrath, ready to pierce the ground with tender green shoots when the rains come. This is no mere accident of nature, but a profound truth woven into the fabric of existence. For every gain, there is a loss. For every creation, a destruction must pave the way. This is the unspoken law of sacrifice, a principle as old as the universe itself. In the realm of physics, we call it the conservation of energy, a quiet decree that nothing can be conjured from nothingness, and nothing can vanish without leaving a trace. Energy transforms, shifts from one form to another, but its sum remains eternal. A star burns brightly for eons, pouring its light into the void, only to collapse under its own weight, its remnants seeding new celestial bodies in a distant corner of the cosmos. What is lost in one place is gained in another, a cosmic balance sheet that never errs. But beyond the equations and the cold logic of science, there lies a deeper, more haunting question. Is sacrifice the very currency of existence, the price we pay for every step forward? Consider the forest once more. The fire that raged was not a mindless calamity, but a necessary purge. It cleared the underbrush, making way for sunlight to reach the forest floor, where new life could take root. The old trees, in their death, nourished the soil with their ashes, offering themselves as a silent gift to the next generation. Is this not a mirror of our own lives? Every choice we make, every dream we pursue, demands a letting go. To build a home, we must fell the trees. To forge a bond, we must surrender a piece of our solitude. Even in the quiet act of loving, there is a sacrifice of time, of vulnerability, of the self we once were. Take a moment to reflect on this. What have you given up to become who you are today? What invisible losses linger in the shadow of your greatest gains? This law of balance in loss stretches far beyond the personal, echoing through the grand tapestry of history and nature. Think of the ancient cities that crumbled to dust, their stones quarried to build new empires, or the rivers that carved through mountains, wearing down stone to create valleys. Their relentless flow a testament to the slow, inevitable trade of destruction for creation. Even in the vastness of space, black holes swallow stars whole, their immense gravity pulling in light and matter, only to perhaps birth new realities in dimensions we cannot fathom. Nothing is gained without cost. And yet, there is a strange beauty in this exchange, a symmetry that suggests the universe is not indifferent, but bound by a quiet justice. But if sacrifice is the currency of existence, what does it demand of us in return? Are we to embrace loss as the precursor to growth, or do we resist it, clinging to what we know, even as it slips through our fingers like sand? There is a solemn weight to this question, a whisper of inevitability that follows us through every decision. Perhaps the forest offers a lesson in surrender. Its trees do not fight the flames, but accept their fate, knowing that their end is not the end, but a transformation. Yet we, with our restless minds and aching hearts, often struggle against this current. We mourn what is lost, even as we stand on the fertile ground it has prepared for us. And so, we are left to ponder, is sacrifice a burden or a gift? Is it the universe's way of teaching us to let go, to trust in the unseen cycles that turn ash into life? Or is it a cruel reminder that nothing comes without a price? As the twilight deepens over that imagined forest, and the last embers of the fire glow faintly against the dark, there is no clear answer, only the quiet rustle of new growth stirring beneath the earth. A reminder that loss and gain are two sides of the same eternal coin. Take a moment to reflect on this. What sacrifices have shaped your path, and what new beginnings might they yet unfold? Imagine for a moment a single leaf caught in a gentle autumn breeze. It twirls and dances, seemingly free in its descent, yet it cannot resist the unseen force that draws it ever downward. There is something ancient, something relentless in this pull, a force that governs not just the fall of a leaf, but the collapse of towering mountains and the slow, inevitable tumble of stars into the abyss. This is the law of gravity, an unyielding hand that shapes the arc of all existence. But beyond the physics of weight and mass, could it be that gravity mirrors something deeper within us? A weight we cannot see, yet always feel. The burdens of our thoughts, our regrets, our very being. Picture a vast forest at dawn, where the first light barely pierces the canopy. Each leaf, each branch, is tethered to the earth, bound by a force that does not negotiate or relent. Gravity is no mere scientific principle in this quiet moment. It becomes a presence, a silent guardian, ensuring that nothing escapes its embrace. From the smallest pebble rolling down a slope to the mighty collapse of a star into a black hole, this force weaves a thread of inevitability through the cosmos. It is as if the universe itself has whispered a command. All must return, all must descend. But why does this pull feel so personal, so intimate? Is it only the earth that anchors us? Or do we carry an invisible gravity of our own? A weight of memories, of unspoken fears, of dreams we dare not release? Consider the life of a weary traveler, his back bent under the load of a heavy pack. Each step is a quiet battle against the downward tug, each moment a reminder of the weight he cannot shed. Yet, isn't there something familiar in this struggle? Don't we too feel the pull of our own burdens? Those emotional anchors that root us to past mistakes, to lingering doubts, to the quiet ache of what might have been. Gravity, in its cosmic indifference, seems to mirror this inner weight, as if the universe itself is reflecting our silent struggles. It pulls us downward, not just in body, but in spirit, asking us to confront what we carry. Take a moment to reflect on this. What is it that weighs on you even now, as you listen to these words? What invisible force keeps you tethered to a place you long to leave behind? Yet, there is a paradox in this relentless pull. For as much as gravity binds us, it also shapes us. It is the architect of planets, the sculptor of galaxies, the silent force that cradles life on this fragile sphere we call home. Without its grip, we would drift aimlessly into the void, untethered, unmoored. So, is this weight a curse or a quiet gift? Does it imprison us, or does it give us ground to stand upon, a foundation from which to reach for the stars? Think of a child learning to walk, stumbling under the pull of the earth, yet rising again and again. Is surrender to this force a defeat, or is it the first step toward understanding our place in the vastness? Now, imagine a star at the end of its life, its once brilliant fire dimming as gravity claims its final victory. It collapses inward, consumed by its own weight, until it becomes something other, a black hole, a mystery even to the laws that birthed it. Here, gravity transcends itself, bending light, warping time, defying comprehension. Does this not echo the depths of our own existence? Are there burdens so heavy within us that they too distort the very fabric of who we are, pulling us into unseen places where even hope struggles to escape? Or is there a strange beauty in this collapse, a transformation born of yielding to what cannot be fought? As we linger in this thought, let the image of that falling leaf return. It does not resist its descent, nor does it mourn its fate. It simply falls, carried by a force older than time, finding its rest upon the earth. Perhaps there is wisdom in this quiet surrender, a recognition that to fight the pull is to exhaust oneself, while to accept it is to find a kind of peace. Yet, the question remains, soft and persistent, like a whisper in the dark. Can we ever truly escape the weight of our existence? Or is the act of carrying it what makes us human? Let this thought linger with you, like the slow, inevitable drift of that leaf, as you ponder the unseen forces that shape not just the cosmos, but the very essence of who you are. Imagine for a moment a single grain of sand slipping through the narrow neck of an hourglass. It falls silently, irrevocably, joining the growing mound below, each grain a fleeting second that can never be reclaimed. This quiet, unrelenting descent is the essence of time's arrow, a force so familiar yet so enigmatic that it shapes every breath we take, every memory we hold. Time moves in one direction, always forward, dragging us along its current. And no matter how desperately we reach back, the past remains just out of grasp. Why is it that we can remember yesterday but never touch it? Why does time refuse to bend, to loop, to offer us even a fleeting chance to undo what has been done? Picture a child, small and wide-eyed, chasing after a kite on a sunlit field. The string slips from their tiny hands and the kite soars upward, a fleeting speck against the endless blue. That child laughs, unaware that each moment is slipping, away as surely as the kite itself. Years pass, and the child grows. Shoulders broaden, laughter deepens, and the field becomes a distant memory. Now, standing in the twilight of life, they look back, searching for that kite, that field, that fleeting innocence. But time has carried it all away, leaving only echoes in the heart. There is no returning, no stepping back into the warmth of that sunlit day. The arrow of time pierces through every life, relentless and unyielding, carving a path we can only follow. In the realm of physics, this one-way journey is not mere poetry, but a fundamental truth. The laws of the universe dictate that time flows forward, tied to the ever-increasing disorder of entropy. A shattered glass does not reassemble itself. A spilled drop of ink does not gather back into a perfect circle. Every process, every transformation moves toward a state of greater chaos, and time is the silent witness to this unraveling. It is as if the cosmos itself has decreed that we must march onward, that to look back is to gaze into a mirror that reflects nothing but shadows. But is this forward march a burden or a strange kind of mercy? Does time's refusal to let us linger force us to savor the fleeting beauty of now, or does it mock us with the permanence of what we've lost? Take a moment to reflect on this. Think of a memory you cherish, one that glows like a lantern in the quiet of your mind. Can you feel the weight of its absence, the way it slips further from you with each passing day? Time does not pause, does not wait for us to be ready. It moves as rivers do, carving through stone, reshaping the world without apology. And yet, in its relentless push, there is a kind of poetry, a reminder that every moment, every fleeting laugh or tear is precious precisely because it will not come again. Perhaps time's arrow is not a curse but a quiet teacher, whispering to us to hold tightly to the now, to let go of what was, and to face what will be with open hands. Consider, too, the deeper mystery of this unyielding flow. Why does time move only forward? Is it merely a byproduct of the universe's design, a consequence of its expanding fabric? Or is there something more, a purpose we cannot yet fathom? Philosophers have long wrestled with this, imagining time as a river, a thread, a circle that might one day loop back upon itself. And yet, our experience tells us otherwise. We feel the weight of each passing year, the way it adds to the story of who we are, even as it erases the chapters we long to revisit. Could it be that time's direction is a gift in disguise, pushing us to grow, to create, to leave a mark before the hourglass runs empty? Or are we simply passengers on a journey with no return, bound by a law we did not choose? As you ponder this, let your thoughts drift to the countless lives that have come before, each one shaped by this same, unyielding force. Think of the ancient poets who mourned the passing of youth, the scientists who sought to measure time's elusive nature, the lovers who whispered promises against its inevitable tide. All of them, like us, were carried forward, unable to turn back, unable to freeze the moment. And perhaps that is the true weight of time's arrow, not in its cruelty, but in its quiet insistence that we live, that we feel, that we remember, even as it pulls us ever onward into the unknown. Imagine for a moment that you are standing on the edge of an endless abyss, gazing out into a void so vast that it swallows every notion of importance you've ever held. The stars, those distant pinpricks of light, do not twinkle for you. The galaxies, spiraling in their ancient dance, do not pause to notice your existence. This is not a universe that cares, nor one that condemns. It simply is, a silent, boundless expanse that holds no special place for us, no privileged corner carved out for our dreams or our despairs. Let this thought settle over you like a cool, heavy mist. What does it mean to live in a reality that does not acknowledge us? This idea, often called the Copernican principle, whispers a humbling truth. We are not the center of the cosmos. Once, humanity believed the Earth was the heart of all creation, that the sun and stars revolved around us in a grand, purposeful orbit. But as our gaze stretched further, as our tools pierced deeper into the fabric of the unknown, we learned that our pale blue dot is but a speck in an ocean of indifference. There is no cosmic throne for us to claim, no divine spotlight shining on our triumphs or tragedies. The universe stretches on, its scale so incomprehensible that our entire history, every war fought, every poem written, every tear shed, could vanish into its depths without so much as a ripple. Picture a desert at night, vast and empty, the sand stretching endlessly beneath a sky that seems to press down with its weight of nothingness. You stand there, a solitary figure, shouting into the silence, your voice absorbed by the void. Does the desert hear you? Does it care about the stories you carry, the burdens you bear? The universe, in its grand indifference, is much like that desert. It does not judge, nor does it comfort. A supernova explodes in a distant galaxy, a cataclysm of unimaginable violence, and yet here on Earth, we sleep through it, unaware. A child is born, a life begins with all its fragile hope, and the cosmos does not pause to take note. This indifference is not cruelty, it is simply the nature of a reality so vast that our existence becomes a whisper too faint to be heard. And yet, in this silence, there is a strange kind of liberation. If the universe does not care, then perhaps we are free to define our own purpose, to paint meaning onto the blank canvas of existence. But this freedom comes with a shadow. If there is no inherent significance to our lives, no cosmic hand guiding or validating our choices, then where do we anchor ourselves? Do we build cathedrals of meaning out of sand, knowing they will one day be swept away by the indifferent tides of time? Or do we embrace the void, finding a kind of solace in the fact that our failures, just like our victories, leave no mark on the eternal? Take a moment to reflect on this. Imagine yourself as a single grain of sand on that endless desert, insignificant in the grand sweep of things, yet still existing, still feeling, still searching. Does the indifference of the universe diminish you? Or does it ignite a quiet defiance, a resolve to create meaning where none is given? Consider the ancient Stoics who gazed upon the heavens with a similar sense of smallness. They did not shrink from the indifference of the cosmos. Instead, they turned inward, seeking virtue and tranquility within the sphere of their own control. They understood that while the stars may not care, we can still care for each other, for the fleeting moments we share under this vast, uncaring sky. Perhaps then, the universe's silence is not a void to be feared, but a mirror reflecting back our own capacity for compassion, for creation, for wonder. And yet, there lingers a quiet unease. What if this indifference is not just a backdrop, but a fundamental truth woven into the very fabric of reality? What if every story we tell ourselves about purpose, about destiny, is merely a fragile illusion, a flicker of light against an eternal dark? As you ponder this, let your mind drift to the edge of that abyss once more. Stand there, not with fear, but with curiosity. If the universe does not acknowledge us, then perhaps the act of acknowledging it, of marveling at its vastness, of questioning its silence, is itself a kind of quiet rebellion, a whispered assertion that we too are here, even if only for a moment. Imagine a world where everything you cherish, every resource you rely upon, is slipping through your fingers like sand in an hourglass. A quiet, unrelenting truth whispers in the shadows of existence. There is only so much to go around, and the hunger for more will always outpace what remains. In the vast machinery of the cosmos, where energy and matter are bound by invisible limits, we find ourselves caught in a game of scarcity, a game where every gain is shadowed by a loss, and every choice echoes with consequence. Picture a small village nestled in a verdant valley, its people living in harmony with the land. Their fields bloom with golden wheat, their rivers teem with silver fish, and their forests offer timber for warmth through the long winters. But as the years pass, the village grows. More mouths to feed, more homes to build, more fires to stoke. The fields are overworked, the rivers fish dry, the forests reduced to barren stumps. In their hunger for comfort, for just a little more, the villagers devour their own future. One day, a child looks out over the desolate valley and asks, "What have we done?" But the answer is carried away by a cold, empty wind. They had chosen fleeting ease over enduring balance, and in doing so, they sowed the seeds of their own undoing. This fable is not merely a story of a village lost to time. It mirrors a deeper law woven into the fabric of reality itself. In a closed system, as our universe often seems to be, energy and matter are finite. There is no endless well from which to draw, no infinite bounty to claim. Every spark of energy we harness, every fragment of matter we shape, comes at the cost of something else. It's a quiet, unyielding balance, a law of finite resources that governs not just the stars and the earth beneath our feet, but the very choices we make as a species. We burn through oil and coal to light our cities, but the air grows heavy with the weight of our excess. We carve into mountains for precious metals, but the scars we leave behind ache for millennia. Our hunger drives us forward, but at what cost? Consider for a moment the trajectory of humanity's endless consumption. We are a species defined by our ability to create, to innovate, to reach beyond what we are given. But in our pursuit of more comfort, more power, more certainty, do we not risk becoming like that village, blind to the horizon until it's too late? Is scarcity a law we can defy through ingenuity? Or is it an unmovable truth that will always shape our darkest choices? Take a moment to reflect on this. Imagine the world 100 years from now. What will remain of the rivers, the forests, the air we breathe, if our hunger knows no bounds? Perhaps the answer lies not in defiance, but in understanding. To live within the limits of this law is not to surrender to scarcity, but to dance with it. The villagers could have planted as much as they took, fished with restraint, felled trees with reverence for the forest's renewal. But they did not see the cycle, only the immediate. And so we must ask ourselves, do we see the cycle, or are we too consumed by the now? Are we crafting a legacy of abundance for those who come after, or are we too devouring our future for fleeting comfort? This law of finite resources stretches beyond our planet. into the very heart of the cosmos. Even stars, those titans of light, are not immune to the hunger game. They burn through their hydrogen, their core a furnace of creation, until there is nothing left to consume. Then they collapse or explode, scattering their remnants into the void, remnants that may one day form new stars, new worlds. But the cycle is not infinite. Even the universe itself, some say, will one day reach the end of its resources, its energy dissipating into a cold, silent expanse. Is this scarcity, then, the ultimate architect of all things? Does it shape not just our choices, but the very fate of existence? As we sit with this thought, let it linger like a quiet shadow in the mind. What does it mean to live in a reality where nothing is truly endless, where every gain is balanced by a quiet loss? Are we doomed to repeat the mistakes of that village? Or can we learn to see beyond our hunger, to cherish what is, rather than crave what might be? Take a moment to reflect on this. Let the weight of this question settle over you like a soft, inevitable dusk. For in this law of finite resources, we may find not just a limit, but a mirror, a reflection of our own nature, our own capacity to choose between fleeting desire and enduring wisdom. Imagine for a moment a butterfly fluttering through a quiet meadow, its delicate wings catching the faintest breath of wind. In that fleeting motion, so small and seemingly inconsequential, lies the seed of something vast, a storm brewing, on the other side of the world, born from the tiniest ripple. This is the essence of chaos, a hidden force that whispers through the fabric of existence, unraveling the neat patterns we so desperately cling to. What if the smallest act, a word, spoken in haste or a choice made in a heartbeat, could set off a cascade of events beyond our imagining? What if chaos, rather than a mere disruption, is the unseen hand sculpting the very shape of reality? Consider a man named Elias, who lived in a village nestled at the edge of a great forest. One autumn evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the world in amber, Elias decided to take a different path home. A simple choice, born of nothing more than a whim to see the woods under twilight's glow. That decision, so trivial in the moment, led him to cross paths with a stranger, a weary traveler seeking shelter. Their meeting sparked a conversation, then a friendship, and eventually a partnership that would alter the fate of their village forever. But had Elias chosen his usual route, had he not veered into the unknown, that traveler might have passed unseen, and 1,000 futures would have unfolded differently. A single step, a fleeting divergence, and the world shifts on its axis. How often do we stand at such crossroads, unaware of the tempests we might unleash? This is the heart of chaos theory, a principle that suggests the smallest actions can ripple outward, creating waves of consequence far beyond our grasp. A butterfly's wing in Brazil might stir the air just enough to influence a storm in Texas. A momentary lapse in attention might alter the course of a life. It's as if the universe is a vast tapestry, woven with threads so fine that a single tug can unravel entire patterns, or weave new ones in their place. Yet, there's a quiet mystery here, isn't there? Is chaos truly the undoing of order, a rebellion against the laws we believe govern all things? Or is it perhaps the hidden architect, the force that ensures no design remains static, no structure unbreakable? Think of the grandest systems we admire, the orbit of planets, the rhythm of seasons, the intricate dance of life itself. We see order, predictability, a comforting certainty. But beneath this surface lies chaos, waiting to remind us of its power. A comet's unexpected path can disrupt a celestial balance. A single mutation in a strand of DNA can birth a new species or doom another to extinction. Even our own lives, so carefully planned, can be upended by a chance encounter, a missed train, a forgotten promise. Are we then at the mercy of this unseen force, adrift in a sea of unpredictability? Or does chaos offer us something more, a kind of strange freedom? A reminder that nothing is truly fixed, that every moment holds the potential for reinvention. Take a moment to reflect on this. Consider a choice you've made, perhaps one so small you barely noticed it at the time. A conversation you struck up, a path you took, a thought you lingered on just a little too long. Can you trace the ripples of that decision, the ways it altered your world or someone else's? Can you see the shadow of chaos in the shape your life has taken? There's a haunting beauty in this uncertainty, a sense that we are both creators and creations of a force we cannot fully comprehend. The ancients, too, felt this tension, weaving tales of trickster gods and capricious fates, beings who delighted in upending the order of things. Perhaps they understood, long before science gave it a name, that chaos is not merely destruction, it is possibility. It is the crack in the foundation through which new light pours, the storm that clears the air for a dawn we could not have foreseen. Yet, there's a shadow to this beauty, a question that lingers like mist over a still lake. If chaos governs so much, if a single flutter can change everything, how do we find stability in a world so prone to unraveling? Do we resist it, seeking to impose our own order? Or do we surrender, learning to dance with the unpredictable? As the butterfly continues its silent flight, unaware of the storms it may awaken, so too do we move through our days, casting ripples into the vast unknown. Perhaps chaos is neither friend nor foe, but simply the breath of the universe, a reminder that nothing is ever truly still, that beneath every surface lies a current waiting to surge. And in that realization, there is both unease and wonder, a quiet invitation to embrace the mystery of what might come next. Imagine a world where the very fabric of progress is woven with threads of loss, where every step forward demands a silent farewell to something left behind. Picture a quiet island, untouched by time, where a strange, flightless bird wanders. Beneath the canopy, its round eyes reflecting a sky it will never conquer. This bird, the dodo, waddles through a paradise it cannot comprehend as temporary, unaware that its kind will soon vanish from the earth, erased by the relentless march of evolution. Its story is a whisper from the past, a somber reminder that the price of life's advancement is often extinction, a law as unyielding as the tides. Let us linger on this thought, on the dodo's final days. It did not know it was the last of its lineage, nor did it sense the shadow of humanity creeping, closer with nets and hunger. It simply lived, pecking at fallen fruit, its existence a fleeting note in nature's endless symphony. Yet, in its disappearance, space was carved for something new, perhaps a sleeker, more adaptable creature, or a landscape reshaped by the absence of its clumsy tread. Evolution, that grand architect of life, does not mourn. It builds upon the bones of the fallen, crafting novelty from ruin. But at what cost? Is this ceaseless cycle of creation and destruction a cruel necessity, or does it harbor a deeper wisdom we struggle to grasp? Consider the vast tapestry of life on this planet, stretching back billions of years. For every species that thrives today, countless others have faded into the dust of history. Giant reptiles that once shook the earth, tiny mollusks that shimmered in ancient seas, all swept away to make room for what came next. The law of extinction seems to whisper that survival is not a right, but a fleeting privilege, granted only until something fitter emerges. It is a humbling thought, one that strips away the illusion of permanence. We too are part of this dance, our own chapter in the story of life, perhaps destined to close as silently as the dodos did. Take a moment to reflect on this. What does it mean to be a temporary flicker in the grand arc of existence? Are we merely stepping stones for a future we will never witness? This law of extinction is not merely a biological truth. It echoes in the broader currents of change. Think of the languages that have died, their last speakers whispering words no one will ever hear again. Think of traditions and ways of life swallowed by the tides of modernity, replaced by innovations that shine brightly for a time before they too are overtaken. Progress, it seems, is a double-edged blade. Each leap forward carves away a piece of what was. And yet, is there not a strange beauty in this impermanence? The The dodo's extinction, though tragic, reminds us that life is a process of renewal, a constant reshaping of what is into what could be. Perhaps loss is not an end, but a doorway, a necessary sacrifice for the unfolding of something greater. Still, the heart resists this cold logic. We ache for what is lost, for the creatures and cultures that will never grace the world again. We wonder if there is a way to honor the vanished, to carry their memory forward even as we step into the future. They helped create, or perhaps the law of extinction teaches us something deeper about our own nature. A reminder to tread lightly, to recognize that our own time too may one day be measured in fossils and forgotten tales. What if humanity itself is destined to be a chapter closed, a name whispered only by the wind? Does this inevitability diminish our struggles, or does it imbue them with a quiet urgency to live fully in the fleeting now? Let this thought settle over you like a soft dusk, a gentle weight that does not crush, but invites contemplation. The dodo's last steps on that distant island were not in vain. They were part of a larger story, one we are still writing. Evolution's law may demand extinction, but it also whispers of resilience, of the endless capacity for life to adapt and endure through loss. As the night deepens, let this mystery linger in your mind. Is progress worth its price, or are we, like that lost bird, simply wandering through a paradise we cannot hope to keep? Imagine for a moment a force so vast, so silent, that it moves the very fabric of the universe without ever revealing itself. A presence that stretches the boundaries of existence, pulling the farthest galaxies away from one another with an invisible grip. This is not a force we can see, nor one we can touch, but it is there, lurking in the shadows of the cosmos, driving the expansion of all that is. We call it dark energy, an enigmatic power that defies our understanding, a mystery woven into the very seams of reality. What is this unseen hand that tears at the edges of creation, and what does it whisper about our place in the grand tapestry of time? Let us wander into the depths of this cosmic riddle. Picture the universe as an endless ocean, its waves of galaxies drifting apart, carried by currents we cannot fathom. Dark energy, though it remains hidden from our instruments and senses, is believed to make up nearly 70% of all that exists. It is the silent engine behind the accelerating expansion of space itself, a force that does not draw things together like gravity, but instead pushes them away, as if the universe were a breath expanding into an infinite void. Scientists stumbled upon its existence in the late 20th century, when observations of distant supernovae revealed something startling. The universe was not slowing down in its expansion, as once thought, but speeding up, driven by something unknown, something unseen. It was as though reality itself had a hidden pulse, quickening with each passing eon. But what does this mean for us, drifting on our pale blue dot amidst this accelerating sprawl? Consider the nature of a force that works in opposition to connection, to unity. Gravity, the gentle tether that binds stars to their systems and planets to their orbits, is over. But what does this mean for us, drifting on our pale blue dot amidst this accelerating sprawl? Consider the nature of a force that works in opposition to connection, to unity. Gravity, the gentle tether that binds stars to their systems and planets to their orbits, is countered by this dark energy, as though the universe itself yearns to dissolve into solitude. Is this unseen force a harbinger of isolation, a sign that the very laws of existence favor separation over togetherness? We build bridges, forge bonds, and send signals into the void, hoping to find others out there, yet the cosmos seems to pull itself apart, as if to remind us that even the grandest unions are fleeting. Take a moment to reflect on this. What does it mean to reach out in a universe that stretches itself thin, as if fleeing from its own embrace? Let us delve deeper into the metaphor of a tapestry, one woven by hands we cannot see. Imagine dark energy as the unseen thread that frays the edges, pulling the weave apart with a quiet, relentless determination. In ancient myths, there were often forces beyond mortal comprehension, gods or spirits who shaped the world in ways that defied reason. The Greeks spoke of chaos, the primordial void from which all things emerged, yet also a force of unraveling, of undoing. Could dark energy be a modern echo of such ancient fears? A reminder that there are powers at play we may never grasp? We name it dark, not just for its invisibility, but for the shadow it casts on our understanding, a void in our knowledge that grows wider as the universe itself expands. And so, we are left to ponder the purpose of this silent architect. Does dark energy guide the cosmos towards some unseen destiny? A final scattering where no light, no warmth, no memory remains? Or is it merely the indifferent byproduct of laws we have yet to uncover? A cosmic hum that resonates beyond our hearing. Think of a child blowing a dandelion into the wind, watching the seeds scatter without knowing where they will land. Are we those seeds, carried by forces we cannot predict, destined to drift ever further from one another? There is a strange melancholy in this thought, a quiet ache in realizing that the universe may not be a place of gathering, but of parting, a slow, eternal farewell written into the very laws of existence. Yet even in this mystery, there is a kind of beauty, a poetic weight to the unknown. Dark energy, for all its enigma, reminds us of our smallness, our fragility in the face of the infinite. It humbles us, urging us to look up at the night sky, not with answers, but with questions. What other forces shape our journey, unseen and unspoken? Are there currents beneath the surface of reality, guiding or dooming us in ways we cannot imagine? Take a moment to reflect on this. Let your mind wander to the edges of the known, to the places where science fades into wonder, and ask yourself, in a universe pulled apart by invisible hands, how do we find meaning in holding on? As we linger on this thought, let the weight of the unknown settle over you like a soft, shadowy veil. Dark energy, this silent force, does not demand our understanding, nor does it offer solace. It simply is, a reminder that not all truths are meant for us to hold. Perhaps in the end, our cosmic journey is not about grasping the unseen, but about learning to drift with it, to accept that some mysteries are not puzzles to solve, but waves to ride. And in that acceptance, there is a kind of peace, a quiet surrender to the vast, unknowable dance of all things, pulling us ever outward into the dark. Imagine, for a moment, a quiet forest at the edge of twilight, where the air hums with the last breath of day. In the heart of this stillness stands an ancient tree, its bark scarred by countless seasons, its branches heavy with the weight of time. As the wind weaves through its leaves, it seems to whisper, a low, mournful sound, as if it knows its end is near. This tree, like all living things, is bound by a law older than the earth itself, a law that no force can defy, the law of mortality, the universal end that claims every spark of life, from the tiniest microbe to the grandest star. Think of how this law touches everything. A bacterium flickers into existence for mere hours before dissolving into nothingness. A mighty oak, standing sentinel for centuries, eventually bows to decay, its roots crumbling beneath the soil. Even the stars, those blazing titans of the cosmos, burn through their fuel, collapsing into cold remnants or vanishing in cataclysmic bursts. There is no escape, no bargain to be struck. Mortality is the great equalizer, the unspoken promise that all beginnings must find their close. And yet, as we linger on this thought, a question emerges from the silence. Is this law a cruel boundary, a theft of what could have been, or is it something else? A quiet, profound invitation. Consider the story of that dying tree, its final season unfolding in the forest's embrace. As its sap slows and its leaves wither, it does not rage against the inevitable. Instead, it offers its last strength to the world around it. Its falling seeds nestle into the earth, carrying whispers of new life. Its decaying trunk becomes a sanctuary for insects, a cradle for moss, a testament to the cycle that continues even as it fades. In its surrender, there is a kind of grace, a silent understanding that its end is not merely loss, but a transformation. Does this not stir something within us? Take a moment to reflect on this. What if death, rather than a harsh verdict, is a doorway, not to nothingness, but to a different kind of presence? Now, let us turn inward, to our own fleeting journey. We too are bound by this law, our days numbered from the first breath we draw. A child laughs under a summer sun, unaware that each moment slips away like sand through open fingers. A parent watches their youth fade in the mirror, lines etching stories of joy and sorrow into their skin. And in the quiet of night, we all face the same unspoken truth. One day, we will return to the earth, to the stardust from which we came. But does this certainty diminish us, or does it sharpen our gaze? Does the shadow of mortality cast a pall over life, or does it illuminate the preciousness of every fleeting second? Ponder this as the forest grows darker, as the wind's whisper fades into stillness. Perhaps the law of mortality is not a chain, but a mirror, reflecting back to us the urgency of now. If we knew our time stretched into eternity, would we savor the taste of rain on our skin, the warmth of a loved one's hand, the quiet beauty of a world that hums with impermanence? Or would we drift, numbed by endless tomorrows, forgetting to live at all? Mortality, in its unyielding finality, seems to whisper a challenge, to carve meaning into the temporary, to plant seeds of kindness and wonder, even as our own leaves fall. And so, as we stand beside that ancient tree, listening to its last sigh carried on the wind, let us not turn away from this universal end. Let us face it with quiet curiosity, with a heart open to its strange gift. For in the certainty of our ending, there lies a call to burn brightly, to weave our brief thread into the vast tapestry of existence. What will you do with the time you have, knowing it will one day slip beyond your grasp? Take a moment to reflect on this. Let the question linger, like the echo of that tree's whisper, as the night deepens around us. Imagine, for a moment, a dimly lit room in a forgotten corner of the world, where a lone figure sits at a weathered table, a pair of dice resting in their trembling hand. The air is thick with anticipation, the weight of a single decision pressing down like an unseen force. This is no ordinary game. Every roll, every outcome, seems to carry the whisper of destiny itself. But as the dice tumble across the table, clattering to a stop, a question lingers in the silence. Was this result truly theirs to decide, or was it always written in the unseen mathematics of chance? Welcome to the realm of probability, a law so subtle yet so pervasive that it governs the very fabric of our existence, from the dance of atoms to the turning points of our lives. Consider the nature of chance, a force that seems at once random and yet eerily precise. In the quantum world, particles flicker in and out of existence, their positions and behaviors dictated not by certainty, but by likelihoods, probabilities that collapse into reality only when observed. It's as if the universe itself is a vast casino, rolling dice in dimensions we cannot see, deciding outcomes we can only guess at. And here, on our human scale, we feel its touch just as keenly. A chance meeting that alters the course of a life, a fleeting decision that spirals into triumph or ruin. How often do we stand at the edge of such moments, unaware of the invisible odds stacking against or for us? Let us linger on the story of that gambler, a man named Elias, whose life was a series of bets placed against an uncaring world. He stood one stormy evening in a smoke-filled den, his last coin clutched in his palm, his eyes fixed on the dice before him. He had lost much already: his home, his family, his hope. But this roll, he believed, would turn it all around. The crowd around him held their breath as the dice spun, their ivory faces flashing in the dim light. They landed, and with them, his fate. A loss so final it echoed like thunder in his hollow chest. Was it mere bad luck, or was there something deeper at play, a law of probability that had already calculated his downfall long before he ever touched the dice? Did Elias ever truly have a chance, or was he merely a pawn in a game whose rules were written in the stars? This is the tyranny of chance, the silent law that shapes outcomes beyond our grasp. It reminds us that life, at its core, might be a series of probabilities, an intricate web of possibilities where we are never fully in control. A single raindrop falling on a window could trace one path or another, influenced by forces too minute to predict. A word spoken or withheld could change a relationship forever, its impact rippling through time in ways we cannot foresee. And yet, how often do we cling to the illusion of certainty, convincing ourselves that we hold the reins, that our choices are ours alone? Take a moment to reflect on this. Have there been moments in your own life where chance seemed to steer the wheel, where an unexpected turn led you somewhere you never intended to go? Probability whispers to us of a world where freedom and fate are intertwined, where every action is a gamble against the unknown. It challenges us to ask, do we truly shape our destinies, or are we merely players in a cosmic game, rolling dice we cannot see? Perhaps the answer lies not in defying chance, but in embracing it, finding meaning not in the outcome, but in the courage to roll at all. For even in a universe governed by likelihoods, there is a strange beauty in the uncertainty, a quiet mystery in knowing that each moment holds within it 1,000 unseen possibilities, waiting to unfold. And so, as we sit with Elias in the aftermath of his loss, watching the crowd disperse into the rainy night, we are left to wonder about our own games of chance. Are we too betting against odds we cannot comprehend, hoping for a turn of fortune that may never come? Or is there a deeper truth hidden in the clatter of the dice, a reminder that life, with all its unpredictability, is a wager worth making, if only for the fleeting thrill of the unknown? Let this thought linger as the storm outside rages on, its rhythm a faint echo of the endless calculations that shape our every step. Imagine for a moment a universe so ancient that even the stars have forgotten their own light. A cosmos stretched thin across an endless expanse where the last flickers of energy have dissolved into a cold, unyielding stillness. This is not a vision of collapse or catastrophe, but of a slow, inevitable fading, a final silence that awaits all things. Welcome to the distant future, a realm governed by a law so absolute, so chilling, that it whispers of an end beyond comprehension, the law of heat-death. Picture a sky without constellations, a void where once blazed the fiery hearts of galaxies. The stars, those ancient furnaces of creation, have long since burned out, their embers scattered into dust. Black holes, once devourers of light, have evaporated over eons, leaving behind nothing but a faint murmur of radiation. There is no motion here, no warmth, no life. The universe has reached a state of perfect equilibrium, where every particle drifts in isolation, unable to interact, unable to change. It is a stillness so profound that time itself seems to lose meaning, as if the very concept of progress or purpose has dissolved into the ether. What remains is a cold uniformity, a canvas of nothingness stretching into eternity. This is the heat-death of the universe, a consequence of the second law of thermodynamics carried to its ultimate conclusion. Energy, the lifeblood of all existence, seeks to spread out, to dissipate, to balance itself across the vastness of space. Every action, every burst of light, every beat of a heart scatters a little more heat into the void, never to be reclaimed. Over unimaginable spans of time, this process grinds down the cosmos until there is no gradient left, no difference to drive motion or change. It is as if the universe, in its relentless pursuit of balance, has erased its own story, leaving behind a blank page that will never again be written upon. Consider the weight of this idea. A future where all struggle, all creation, all dreams are reduced to silence. Every poem ever penned, every monument raised, every life lived with fervor or despair. None of it can withstand this final law. The universe does not care for our legacies. It does not pause to mourn the loss of meaning. It simply moves toward its end with the same indifference it has always shown. And yet, there is something hauntingly poetic in this inevitability. Is there a strange beauty in the idea of a cosmos at rest, free at last from the chaos of birth and death? Or does this vision of ultimate stillness strip away the very purpose of our fleeting existence? Take a moment to reflect on this. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of this silent universe, gazing into a void that offers no answers, no echoes of the past. What do you feel in the face of such an end? Is it despair at the thought that all we build, all we love, will one day be, as if it never was? Or is there a quiet resolve, a whisper of defiance, in knowing that our time is finite, that every moment we seize is a small rebellion against this cosmic fate? Perhaps the true weight of heat death lies not in its certainty, but in what it asks of us now. If the universe is destined to fade into cold uniformity, does that render our struggles meaningless, our joys hollow? Or does it imbue them with a desperate, fleeting significance, a call to create, to connect, to burn brightly while we still can? Think of a candle flickering in the dark, its glow all the more precious because it will not last. Our lives, our civilizations, our very thoughts may be but sparks in the grand expanse of time. Yet they are sparks nonetheless, defying the silence for as long as they endure. And so, we are left with a question that lingers like a shadow at the edge of thought. Does meaning lie in the eternal, in the hope of something that endures beyond the end? Or does it reside in the act of defiance itself, in the choice to live, to love, to dream, even as the universe whispers of its final silence? Let this question drift with you, unanswered, as we stand together in the quiet of this imagined future, listening to the faint, fading echo of all that once was. Imagine a world where every ray of light is inseparable from the shadow it casts, where every moment of joy carries the faint whisper of sorrow. There is a quiet rhythm to existence, a dance of opposites that seems to underpin everything we know. What if this interplay, this delicate balance of light and dark, is not just a poetic notion, but a fundamental law woven into the very fabric of reality? Let us wander into this enigma, into the heart of duality, where creation and destruction, harmony and conflict are not enemies, but eternal partners in the story of being. Think of a painter, long ago, standing before a blank canvas in a dimly lit room. His hands tremble not from fear, but from a profound understanding that every stroke of white must be met with a touch of black. He paints a meadow under a golden sun, but he cannot resist the urge to add the looming shadow of a distant storm. Without it, the meadow feels lifeless, incomplete. He whispers to himself that beauty is not in the light alone, nor in the darkness, but in the tension between them. His art becomes a mirror of existence itself, a testament to the truth that nothing whole can emerge without its opposite. Have you ever noticed this in your own life? A moment of triumph that only holds meaning because of the struggles that came before, or a loss that somehow sharpens your appreciation for what remains. This principle of duality stretches far beyond the painter's canvas. It echoes in the natural world, where day surrenders to night in an endless cycle, each defining the other. It hums in the laws of physics, where every force is met with an equal and opposite reaction, as if the universe itself insists on balance. Even in the realm of human thought, we see it in the eternal clash of ideas, order yearning for chaos, freedom wrestling with restraint. Consider the ancient philosophies that have grappled with this truth. In the teachings of Taoism, the yin and yang swirl together, a symbol of inseparable opposites, reminding us that within every shadow lies a seed of light, and within every brightness, a hint of darkness waits. Is this merely a poetic way to see the world, or does it point to something deeper, something inevitable about the structure of reality? Take a moment to reflect on this. Have you ever felt the pull of opposites within yourself? a longing for solitude even as you crave connection, or a fear of change even as you yearn for growth? What if this inner conflict is not a flaw, but a reflection of the universe's own design, a sign that we too are shaped by this law of duality? Let us linger on this thought as we gaze into the cosmos. Even there, in the vast expanse of space, duality reigns. Stars are born in fiery brilliance, only to die in cataclysmic explosions, their remnants giving rise to new worlds. Galaxies spiral in breathtaking beauty, yet their centers often harbor black holes, devouring light itself. It is as if the universe cannot create without destroying, cannot illuminate without obscuring. This interplay feels almost like a heartbeat, a pulse that drives existence forward. But what does it mean for us, beings caught in the midst of this cosmic dance? Are we too bound to embody both light and shadow, to carry within us the seeds of our own contradictions? There is a quiet mystery here, a question that refuses easy answers. Can harmony ever exist without conflict, or is conflict the very forge in which harmony is shaped? Imagine a world without opposites, a place of endless light with no darkness to give it form. Would it be paradise, or would it be nothingness, a void where meaning itself dissolves? Perhaps duality is not a burden, but a gift, a lens through which we come to understand the depth of our own existence. Perhaps it is the tension between joy and pain, between beginning and end, that makes a life feel alive. Let this thought settle over you like a soft twilight, neither fully day nor fully night. Duality whispers to us in every breath, in every choice, in every fleeting moment. It is the shadow that walks beside our light, the silence that gives voice to our words. And as we ponder its presence, we might begin to wonder if this law, this eternal interplay, is not just a rule of the universe, but the very heartbeat of what it means to be. Imagine, for a moment, standing at the edge of an ancient, endless library. Its shelves stretch into an unfathomable darkness, each tome bound in leather so old it seems to whisper of forgotten aeons. You reach for a book, its title etched in a language no human tongue can speak, its pages filled with symbols that evade comprehension. This is the realm of the unknowable, a silent frontier where the deepest mysteries of existence reside, beyond our grasp, beyond our sight, beyond even our wildest dreams of understanding. What lies within these unseen volumes? Are there truths so vast, so alien, that our minds would shatter under their weight? Or is the very act of reaching for them the essence of what makes us human? Consider the nature of dark matter, an enigma woven into the fabric of the cosmos. It surrounds us, permeates the space between stars, yet we cannot see it, touch it, or measure it directly. Scientists tell us it makes up much of the universe's mass, holding galaxies together like an invisible glue. But what is it? A shadow of something beyond our physics, a relic of a reality we cannot yet perceive. We chase its echoes through equations and telescopes, yet it slips through our fingers like mist on a cold morning. It reminds us that even in our most advanced age of discovery, we are still children gazing at a night sky, pointing at shapes we cannot name. And then there is consciousness itself, the mirror through which we view all things. What is this strange, shimmering awareness that allows us to ponder, to feel, to question? Is it merely the dance of neurons, a fleeting spark in the machinery of the brain? Or is it something more, something untouchable, a fragment of the divine, or perhaps a riddle the universe poses to itself? Philosophers and scientists alike have wandered this labyrinth for centuries, yet the deeper they venture, the more elusive the answer becomes. It is as if consciousness is a locked room within our own minds, and we have misplaced the key. Take a moment to reflect on this. What does it mean to be aware, to know that you are, even as the essence of that knowing remains a mystery? This law of unknowability extends beyond the tangible, seeping into the very nature of truth itself. Imagine a traveler in a desert, seeking an oasis that mirages always place just beyond the horizon. Each step forward reveals only more sand, more illusion. Is this not the human condition when we pursue the ultimate answers? We chart the stars, decode the atom, map the mind, yet for every mystery unraveled, 10 more emerge from the shadows. Dark energy, the multiverse, the origin of time. Each is a locked book in that endless library, taunting us with its silence. Are these truths hidden by design, as if the universe guards its secrets with jealous intent? Or are they simply beyond, the frail architecture of human thought, like colors unseen by eyes that evolved only for a narrow spectrum? Perhaps there is a quiet beauty in this limitation, a poetic irony in our relentless quest for the unknowable. Picture a child tracing the outline of a vast ocean with a tiny shell, unaware of the depths beneath. Does the child's ignorance diminish the wonder of the waves? Or does it amplify the magic of the search? Our pursuit of understanding, even when it leads to dead ends, shapes the contours of our existence. It is not the answers that define us, but the questions we dare to ask, the courage to reach for those unreadable books, to stand at the edge of comprehension and peer into the abyss. Maybe the law of unknowability is not a barrier, but an invitation, a reminder that mystery is the heartbeat of wonder. And so, we linger in this space between knowing and not knowing, suspended like a breath held in the stillness of night. What if some truths are meant to remain veiled, not out of cruelty, but out of necessity? What if the act of seeking, rather than finding, is the true purpose of our restless minds? Take a moment to reflect on this. Imagine yourself in that ancient library once more, surrounded by the weight of all that cannot be known. Do you feel frustration at the locked pages, or a quiet awe at the vastness of what lies beyond? In this silence, in this unknowing, there is a strange peace, a recognition that some mysteries are not burdens, but gifts whispering to us from beyond the veil. What if everything you've ever known, every fleeting joy and piercing sorrow, was destined to repeat itself over and over, an unbroken loop woven into the very fabric of existence? Picture a quiet night, the world hushed beneath a canopy of stars, and in your dreams, you find yourself walking the same path you've trodden 1,000 times before. The same faces greet you, the same words spill from your lips, and yet there's a whisper of unease, a gnawing sense that this has all happened before, and it will happen again, endlessly. This is the strange and haunting idea of cycles, a law that seems to govern not just the cosmos, but perhaps the essence of our own being. Consider the universe itself, a vast theatre of repetition. Stars are born in fiery nurseries of gas and dust, only to burn through their brilliance and collapse into the cold embrace of death, their remnants seeding new stars in an eternal dance of creation and destruction. Galaxies spiral in graceful arcs, their arms reaching out as if yearning for something just beyond grasp, only to merge and reform in cosmic collisions that echo across eons. Even time itself, in some theories, might bend back upon itself, a great cycle of expansion and contraction, a heartbeat of reality that never truly ends. There is a rhythm to it all, a pattern that feels both comforting and confining, as if the universe is a grand clock ticking through the same hours again and again. But let us bring this closer to the realm of our own fragile existence. Imagine a dream, not just any dream, but one so vivid it feels more real than the waking world. In this dream, you live your life as you always have. The first cry of birth, the tentative steps of childhood, the ache of first love, the weight of loss, and finally, the quiet surrender to the end. And then, as the darkness closes in, you awaken, not to a new dawn, but to that same first cry, the same uncertain steps, the same joys and pains unfolding as if for the first time, yet with a shadow of familiarity that chills your soul. This is the concept of eternal recurrence, a philosophical musing that asks whether we are doomed, or perhaps blessed, to relive our lives in an infinite loop. The idea, whispered by ancient thinkers and later explored by Nietzsche, suggests that every decision, every fleeting moment, might not be a singular event, but a note in a melody that plays forever. Take a moment to reflect on this. What would it mean to live knowing that every choice, every tear, every laugh will return to you again and again? Would it fill you with dread, a sense of being trapped in an unyielding wheel? Or would it imbue each second with a desperate urgency to make it count, to carve meaning into the repetition? Let's wander further into this thought. Cycles are not merely cosmic or philosophical, they are etched into the very marrow of our world. The seasons turn, winter's chill giving way to spring's bloom, only to fade into the amber decay of autumn once more. The tides rise and fall with the moon's silent command, an endless ebb and flow that mirrors the rhythm of our own breaths. Even in our histories, we see the rise and fall of empires, the same stories of ambition and ruin replayed across centuries, as if humanity itself is caught in a loop it cannot escape. There is a strange beauty in this predictability, a comfort in knowing that after every night a dawn will break. Yet, there is also a quiet terror, a question that lingers like a shadow at dusk. Are we truly moving forward, or are we merely circling back to where we began? Perhaps the most haunting aspect of this law of cycles is the uncertainty of its purpose. If the universe, and we within it, are bound to repeat, is there a reason hidden in the repetition? A lesson we are meant to learn but never quite grasp? Or is the cycle itself indifferent, a mechanism without intent, spinning on because it knows no other way? Some ancient traditions speak of cycles as a path to transcendence. Think of the Hindu concept of samsara, the wheel of birth and rebirth, where each turn offers a chance to shed illusion and reach enlightenment. Others see it as a prison, a relentless recurrence that binds us to suffering unless we find a way to break free. But what if there is no breaking free? What if the cycle is not a cage, but the very shape of reality itself? Let this thought settle over you like a gentle mist, obscuring the edges of certainty. Imagine standing on a hill at twilight, watching the last light of day fade into night, knowing it will return with the morning, just as it has for countless millennia. Feel the weight of that repetition, the quiet inevitability of it all. Does it soothe you, this promise of return, this assurance that nothing is truly lost, only transformed and revisited? Or does it unsettle you, the notion that you might be a player in a story already written, destined to speak the same lines forever? Take a moment to reflect on this. Let your mind drift to a memory, a moment that felt singular, unique, and ask yourself, could I bear to live it again, exactly as it was, for all eternity? Or is the beauty of life found in its fleeting nature, in the belief that each second is a gift that will never come again? As we linger in this thought, let the mystery of cycles wrap around you like a soft, endless night. Whether it is the stars above, the tides below, or the quiet turning of your own heart, there is a rhythm to existence that hums beneath the surface of everything. It is a song of return, a melody of repetition, and though we may never fully understand its meaning, we are part of it, bound to its motion, carried by its tide, forever circling back to where we began. Imagine for a moment that you stand at the edge of a vast, untamed wilderness, gazing at a towering mountain in the distance. Its peaks pierce the sky, cloaked in mist, ancient and unyielding. Now, picture another traveler on the far side of that same mountain, staring at its opposite face. To you, the mountain is a jagged scar against the horizon, a symbol of struggle and ascent. To them, it is a gentle slope, a quiet guardian of the valley below. Both of you swear by the truth of what you see, yet neither holds the whole of it. What then is the mountain? Is there a single unshakable reality to it? Or does the truth dissolve into the angles from which we peer? This is the enigma of perspective, a silent law that weaves through the fabric of our understanding, coloring every thought, every belief, every so-called certainty. It is not a law etched in stone or whispered by the stars, but one that lives in the quiet spaces of our minds, shaping the world as we know it. Consider how a single event, a storm raging across a village, can be a catastrophe to one family, a cleansing renewal to another. The same rain that drowns a crop can nourish a barren field. The same mountain that looms as an obstacle to one is a sanctuary to another. Our gaze, our place in the grand tapestry, decides the story we tell. But does that story hold any claim to the absolute? Or is it merely a fleeting shadow cast by our own limited light? Think back through the ages to a time when the earth was thought to be the center of all things, the sun and stars mere lanterns hung for our benefit. From that vantage point, humanity crafted a truth that felt unassailable, a cosmos that revolved around our existence. Yet, when Copernicus shifted the lens, placing the sun at the heart and us as wanderers in its orbit, the old truth crumbled, not because the universe had changed, but because our perspective had. What we once held as sacred became a quaint illusion, a relic of a narrower gaze. And so we must wonder, what illusions do we cling to now? What mountains do we misread from, our singular, fleeting angle? This law of perspective stretches beyond the physical, seeping into the very essence of how we judge, how we feel, how we live. A child sees a world of endless wonder, where every shadow hides a mystery and every dawn promises adventure. An elder, weathered by decades, might see the same world as a repetitive cycle, a stage where the same old dramas play out under different masks. Neither is wrong, yet neither holds the entirety of what is. Their truths are prisms, refracting reality through the lens of time and experience. Take a moment to reflect on this. How has your own perspective shifted over the years? What once seemed an unyielding fact that now appears as mere opinion, a trick of the light? Even in the grandest schemes of science, perspective plays its elusive game. Einstein taught us that time itself is not a steady river, but a mutable stream, bending and stretching, depending on where you stand in the cosmic dance. A clock on a speeding spacecraft ticks slower than one on Earth, not because time has changed, but because the observer's frame has. Reality, it seems, is not a monolith, but a mosaic, pieced together by the countless eyes that behold it. If something as fundamental as time can shift with our position, what else do we mistake for solid ground? Are the laws we hold dear, the rules we believe govern the stars and our souls, truly absolute? Or are they just the shadows we cast upon the infinite? Let us linger on this tale of two travelers, each facing their own side of the mountain. They argue into the night, each defending their vision as the only truth. Yet, if they were to walk together, to circle the peak and see through the other's eyes, would they not find a fuller story? Not a single, flawless answer, perhaps, but a deeper understanding, a mosaic of jagged edges and gentle slopes. And, yet even then, they would only grasp a fragment of the mountain's essence, for no human gaze can capture the whole of anything. We are bound by our place, our time, our fragile senses. So, we must ask ourselves, are the dark laws we ponder, the truths we carve into our philosophies, anything more than reflections of our own limited sight? As the night deepens and the world grows still, let this question hang in the air, like a faint mist over that distant peak. Are the certainties we cling to, the boundaries we draw between right and wrong, real and unreal, absolute? Or are they merely the shapes we trace in the dark, guided by the narrow beam of our own perception? Take a moment to reflect on this. Let your mind wander to a truth you once held dear, and ask if it still stands when viewed from another side. In the quiet of this moment, consider the possibility that reality is not a destination, but a journey, one where every step, every angle, reveals a new and fleeting face of the infinite.